To understand how to get perfect exposure every time, we're covering the 3 settings you need to understand, the 1 essential tool every videographer needs, and how everything works together. But first, which of these 2 videos looks better? Now that was easy. Obviously, this one is clearly overexposed while this one is exposed correctly. Let's try it again. Which of these 2 videos looks better? Now this one might be a little bit more tricky because they're both exposed correctly, but something is just a little bit off with this one. See, when we're shooting videos, getting the correct exposure is crucial, but I'll also show you what's happening in this example that's affecting the appearance of the video. Let's first start with what is exposure. Exposure is the amount of light that is captured by your camera's sensor. If you have too little light, you end up with an underexposed video. The dark parts or shadows turn into black patches. Too much light and it's overexposed. The bright parts or highlights turn pure white. But when you get it right, you have a beautiful image with details in both the highlights as well as the shadows. There are 3 ways on the camera to control the exposure: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Without them, there'd be no way to control how bright the image is. Let's start with aperture. Aperture controls the size of the opening in the lens. It functions like your pupil. When you're in a dark room, your pupil dilates or widens to let in more light, helping you see better. When you're outside, especially on a bright day, your pupil contracts or closes to block excess light. The size of the opening of the aperture is measured in f-stops. The smaller the f number, the more light hits the sensor. The bigger the f number, the less light. And these ratios or f-stops are spaced out in increments of a stop. If you were at f over 11 and wanted 1 more stop of light, what aperture would you pick? I'll give you a second. f8. Or if you're at f1.4 and had to stop down or reduce the light by 3 stops, what aperture would you need? f4. Your camera may have aperture values between these increments. Most likely they'll be in increments of 1/3 of a stop. So instead of going directly from f8 to f11, it'll give you the option to pick f9 and f10. With most drones, the aperture is built into the camera. So what you have is what you get. But for more high-end ones like the Inspire series or even like regular mirrorless cameras, the lens determines how much aperture is available to you. Let's talk shutter. The shutter is a little door that covers the sensor. Shutter speed is the duration of time your camera's sensor is exposed to light. It's how fast the shutter opens and closes. Keeping with the eye illustration, this is like blinking. Shutter speed is represented as a fraction, 1 over a number. Depending on your camera, you may not see the entire fraction. You might only see the denominator. But the same principle as aperture applies. Half a second is longer than 1/8 of a second. If your shutter speed is a second or longer, you may see it written as the number of seconds with a double apostrophe. Here are some of the common shutter speeds. The further left you go, the brighter the image will be. Similar to aperture, they're spaced out in 1-stop increments. Hopefully, this is a little more intuitive than aperture. Remember that moving down 1 stop is cutting the light in half. So if your shutter speed is 1 second and you need half the time, you would use half a second. Let's make sure the concept is locked in. If you are at 1/60 shutter speed and you want 2 more stops of light, what shutter speed do you need? 1/15. And if you're at 1/15 but needed 5 stops less, 1/500. Just like aperture, your camera may have shutter speeds in increments of 1/3 of a stop. So instead of going from 1/30 directly to 1/60, you'll have the option of 1/40 and 1/50. The last of the 3 is ISO. Like the others, its measurement moves incrementally in stops, where ISO 200 appears twice as bright or 1 stop of light brighter than ISO 100. Some cameras are excellent at working with low light scenarios, while others will struggle. Usually, bigger sensors handle low light better, but over time you learn the limits of the gear you have. I think you got it now, but just to be sure, if I'm currently at ISO 100 and I need to brighten my image by 1 stop of light, what value would I choose? 200. And if I needed 3 stops brighter, 800. Like the other 2, your camera will most likely have the increments of 1/3 of a stop as well. So far, we've seen that aperture and shutter speed physically control how much light reaches a sensor. ISO is different. It's purely digital. It doesn't add more light, It just brightens the image electronically. The only way to change how much light hits the sensor is through aperture, shutter speed, and ISO's twin. Yes, ISO has a twin that works opposite to it. They're called ND filters. It's an attachment that reduces the amount of light hitting the sensor. If ISO is night vision goggles, ND filters are like sunglasses for the camera. The ND stands for neutral density, meaning it doesn't change the color of the light being captured. These are also made in increments of a stop. So if you need to block one stop of light, you'd use ND2. If you need to block 5 stops, you'd use ND32. Remember in the beginning I showed you 2 videos? While they're both correctly exposed, if you look closely, the one on the right is jittery. The video feels choppy. To avoid that, you use ND filters. How to set exposure. For drone videography, the first choice you have to make is your frame rate. Are you shooting at 24, 30, or 60 frames per second? Then, do you want natural motion blur? If yes, set your shutter speed using the 180-degree rule. Do you have more light than you need? If your drone has a fixed aperture, use your ND filters to eliminate the excess light. If you have a variable aperture, then you can combine that with your ND filters. If you have the other issue of not enough light, use the ISO to dial up the brightness of the existing light. You can also open your aperture if your drone has that feature. Just be sure you don't have ND filters on your drone when doing this. Hey, it happens. If you've done all possible things to set your exposure and it's still not quite there, you can bump your shutter speed a little up or down to nail it. Use those third of a stop increments. Or if motion blur is an absolute priority, you can always just hope for the best in post-production. Here's a wall you might hit. Some scenes that you try to shoot might be way too bright in some areas and way too dark in others. If you're fighting with it and not making progress, that might mean you've maxed out your camera's dynamic range. It's unable to capture that much difference in light. For pictures, you can use something called exposure bracketing. But for video, you basically have 2 options here. First is prioritize one of them, either the highlights or the shadows. Normally, I find blown out highlights to be less forgivable than shadows that are too dark. Your other option, which I do not take responsibility for, is to convince your spouse that you need a new drone. Let me know how that goes. This video is meant to be more of a high-level overview of exposure. You'd have heard terms like frame rate, 180-degree rule, motion blur, or even stops. Now, if these don't make sense to you, that's fine. Or maybe even terms that we did cover, aperture, shutter speed, ISO, and ND filters, though it's not quite clear what they actually do. Well, if that's your situation, then watch this video next. In that video, I do a complete breakdown of all those concepts at an absolute beginner level. I give tons of examples of what each thing does, as well as how to understand and use some features on your camera, like the histogram.